Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. So, very brief lesson we have today. So it's just relevant to the previous one. So it's very important. So last time we were talking about the inequality, sufficiency. So this time we'll talk about some equations and what we can say. Now let's see. I'm just going to share the presentation. So you can see this. Let me just share it for a while. Look at this. So this one is the, I'm sure that now you are just looking my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So once again, this it's all about the number properties, data sufficiency. So it's all about the quantitative reasoning. So let's see. Question is very simple statement. So we are just going briskly due to the shortage of time. But anyhow, what is the value of x? So this time we are looking for x. Statement is this one. If x plus 3y is equal to 18 and x cube is equal to minus 16. So once again, the sufficiency conditions are 4 out of 5. That this one statement is alone sufficient for the value of x. This statement 2 is alone sufficient. Both are, neither both of them, any one of them. So these are all those 5 choices. So look at this. The step one is jot down answers to these two questions before looking at the statements. So we will have to analyze the statements. So we'll have to ask some basic questions. So let's see what are those questions. What is the value of x? Actually, we are looking for the value of x. So that is the focal point of our lesson, that for what we are analyzing the statement, that is we are looking for the value of x. We will not even look at the statements while answering the following question. So forget about the statements. We are looking for x. So what we have to ask? The first question is, when the data is sufficient? So it's a basic question, that when we can say that, okay, it's enough, I can solve this problem.
Right.
When we are saying that, let me tell something more. So that will help me to solve that problem. So this is called the sufficiency level of the given data. So next is that for data sufficiency questions that ask for the value of x. So we are looking for the value of x. So x is any variable. We are just looking for that. So for deficiency, we will have to look the value of x. Next is, please, if you can read this. Please. Hello. Are you with me? Okay, if you can read this box.
For DS question?
Or yes, data sufficiency. D.
Oh, okay.
For data sufficiency.
Okay, for data sufficiency questions that ask for the value of x, data sufficient when we can get a unique value for x.
Yes. So unique value of x, that everywhere that value will satisfy the statement. Next, please read this one.
Sure. When is it not sufficient?
Oh, yes. This is a condition for the sufficiency. This is for the insufficiency, not sufficient data is. So what is that? Please.
Statement provides more than one value for x.
Okay, unique value is sufficient. But if statements provide more than one value, not unique value of x, data is?
Not sufficient.
Not sufficient. If you are not getting the unique value of x, so everybody is getting its own value for x to satisfy the statement. So we can say it's not sufficient. Something is wrong. But everybody has his own answer. So we are looking for the unique answer for the x. So this is basically the two things. We will have to keep these things in mind all the time. So please, this one.
Sure. What is the approach?
Okay, so we will have to think about the mathematically, because it's all about the mathematics. So we will have to get some pure statements, pure values. and we will have to make mathematical expressions, equations, inequalities, whatsoever we can do it. So we'll have to do that. So what is the approach? So approach is very simple and straightforward. That is that there must be something solid on the ground that we can write in a mathematical form, and then after those expressions, those solutions of those equations, inequalities, whatsoever the mathematical operation is involved, we can do it. That must be the approach to tackle this problem mathematically. So
Evaluate each statement independently first.
yes, next is
Next is if solving the equation results in a unique value for x, data is not sufficient.
data is sufficient,
Oh, I read it wrong.
else
Oh, I
else
read
no,
else no. Yeah,
else.
okay.
Okay, so so this is all about the what we can say the approach. So we'll have to follow this.
Right.
So step 2.
Okay. Let's evaluate statement one alone.
Oh yes, one by one.
Statement
So
one is, oh, you want me to read that or?
okay, what is the value of x? We are looking for x. Problem is in front of us. So statement 1 is, what's that?
That x plus 3y is equal to 18.
18, and we are looking for x.
Right.
So please,
Well, x plus 3y is equal to 18.
18.
In the given equation is a linear equation in two variables.
X and y.
Right. The value of x will be different for the values of y.
Oh yes. So every time when we are putting the value of y, we are getting a different value of x to satisfy this statement, this equation. So what we can say that x is depending upon y.
Right. For example, if y is equal to 0, then x is equal to 18. If y is equal to 1, then x is equal to 15.
And so on. So
Right.
each time we are getting a different value, and that value of x is
Right.
depending upon the value of y. So whatsoever you are putting y, so you are getting a different x. The value of x is all the time different for the different values of y.
Right. And then, so will not get a unique value for x from statement one.
Okay, so it's a very straightforward analysis that whenever we are just considering this statement all alone, we are not getting a unique value of y. So in the last slide,
Right.
we have
Yeah.
seen that we can say a statement holds true if we can get the unique value of x every time. But here we have seen with the few examples that every time when we are putting the values of y differently, so we are getting the different values of y. So what we can say from this that let's see. Okay, please read this one.
Statement one alone is not sufficient.
Yes, it's absolutely clear, crystal clear after looking at all these lines. So whenever we are putting the value of y, so we are getting the different value of x. So we can say that this statement to find the value of x is not sufficient. Am I right? Are you getting this?
Right. Yeah.
It's a crystal clear looking all these lines. So eliminate choice A and D. And A choice, can you just visualize what was the A choice?
A was probably that solution is not solution one is not sufficient
No.
by
Statement
itself.
one, the
Oh yeah.
option A is always that statement one alone is sufficient.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
statement B is that the option B is statement two is alone sufficient.
Right.
Statement C is that both are sufficient. Both
Right.
statements are
Then
and then both are not
Right.
sufficient. And D option is that either one statement or statement 2 is sufficient. So either, so we are eliminating these two options because statement 1 alone is not sufficient, and D option is that statement either statement is sufficient alone.
Right.
So this one is not sufficient. So elimination of two choices out of 5. So we have 3 now. So we are narrowing down the options. So choices narrow down to B, C, or E. So we will have to evaluate these 3
Right.
choices. B is that second statement alone is sufficient. C is that both statements together are sufficient. And E is that none of these alone is sufficient. So whatsoever is the, so we have the 3 choice of these two
Right.
after eliminating these 2 choices. So look at this, please.
Yeah. For linear equations, the necessary condition to get a unique value for the unknowns is to have many equations of the number, many equations as the number of unknowns.
Okay, so they keep this fact. So it's a fundamental. What's your, what type of the algebra, at what level you are doing that? So keep this thing in your mind all the time. Remember this just like your name. That when
Right.
the variables are 2, the number of equation must be 2. For 2 unknowns, the number of equation must be 2. If there are 2 unknowns, just like in this statement x and y, so we must have 2 equations. If we have
Right.
3 unknowns, we must have 3 equations. If we have 100 unknowns, then we must have 100 equations. The number of equation must be equal to the number of unknowns. Are you getting this?
Right.
So we have,
Right.
in this case, in this statement, we have 2 variables. One is x, the second one is y. So we must have 2 equations, where in this statement first, we have only 1 equation. So
Right.
not possible to get the solution of this equation. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Because for the value of x, if you are looking for the value of x, so actually we are looking for, we are solving this statement. We are looking that value of x which is satisfying this statement 1. That is
Right.
x
Yeah.
plus 3y is equal to 18. So after considering, that's why I'm saying that whenever we are talking about a single problem, so actually we are talking about the 100, more than 100 problem, because if you are keeping this thing, this fact which is written over here, this is the sparkling of the mind, that we must know that the number of variables and the number of the equations, the number of unknowns and the number of equation must be the same.
Right.
If you are looking for the 2 variables, so you must have the 2 equations. In statement 1, it's all
Right.
alone, only one equation. How can we get the value of x and y? It's impossible, because this is
Yeah.
clearly saying that for linear equations, the necessary condition to get a unique value for the unknowns is to have as many equations as the number of unknowns. I'm sure that you got this point. Cut. Okay. So what is that? Can you say
Okay.
in your own words?
Yeah. So,
So,
pretty much it's saying however many values, like unique values there are, there should be the same number of uh, equations.
and the number of unknowns.
Oh, and the number of nodes. Yeah.
Number of unknowns and number of equations must be the same. If
Right.
there is any deficiency, if the unknowns are greater than the number of equations, you cannot solve. You must say only the simple mathematical answer is solution is not possible.
Right.
In any way, in any, at any stage, at any level, in any class, in any exam. If you are given the equations where the values of unknowns are not matching the number of equations, you must say the solution does not exist.
Right.
So we
Okay.
cannot get the solution. So here, clearly we have seen that in statement 1, we have two variables, x and y, and this is the alone equation. One equation, two variable. We cannot solve this. So this statement is not sufficient to
Yeah.
move further to get the value of x. Actually, we are looking for the value of x. Although this time we are looking for x, but there is another variable. So we must have one more equation
Right.
to get the unique value of x. So this is a great fact about the linear equations, about the solution, about the finding out the unknown values. Anyhow, so step 3 is, please, if you can read this.
Sure. Let's evaluate statement 2 alone.
Oh, yes. So we have the other statement also. That is, look at this. So is x is greater than y, and statement is that x cube is equal to minus 16. X cube. Look at
Right.
this. So x cube is equal to minus 16. This is the given one. So in this way, we will have to take the cube root of both the sides of the equation,
Right.
this given equation. So this is the way to get the cube root. The result is unique.
Right.
So in this way, the x, if we are just looking for that, so from here, it's a cubic equation, and we just in one step, we can get the value of x. That is a unique value. What we'll have to do, we are just taking the cube root on both the sides. So cube root of minus 16 can be written as this mathematically. So cube root
Right.
of minus 16 is the exact value of x, that is the unique value of x. So
Yeah.
odd roots such as cube root, fifth root will result in a unique value of x. So whatsoever the root is, either it is a square root, fifth root, cube root, whatsoever. So this will be will become the negative sign will be there, but we will get the unique value of x. So statement 2 alone is sufficient. Are you getting
Right.
this? If you
Yep.
have this type of the statement, if you are looking for the x and x is greater than y, so it's a one more condition. But even then, from here, the unknown is 1 and the equation is 1. Am I right?
Yeah.
There is only one unknown, that is x, and only one equation, that is the cubic equation. Whatsoever is the equation, the number of unknowns and the number of equations are matching. So that's why this statement for this solution for the evaluating of value of x to get the for finding out value of x is this statement alone is sufficient. So eliminate choice C and E. What I mean to say, C was that both equations and this either of that. So neither of the first and second. So we have eliminated A, we have eliminated D, we have eliminated what we can say C, and we have eliminated E. So only left that is B. So
Right.
from here, correct answer, correct choice is B. Look at this. If you can read
Right.
this, please read this one. This box is very important.
Okay. So the value of what is that? Cube of the square root of negative 16.
Okay, you must say the cube root of minus 16.
Oh,
How
just
can we
oh,
read
okay.
this? The cube
The cube
root
root
of minus
of minus
16
16.
is not
Okay,
positive.
so yeah, the cube root of minus 16 is not positive. It's not an integer. It does not matter. It only has to be unique.
Oh, yes. Whatsoever the type of this will be complex number, this will be rational, irrational, whole, odd, prime, whatsoever the kind of number is. But
Right.
whatsoever it is the unique one, everywhere you will get the same value on any calculator, on
Right.
any machine. Whenever you are putting this, the cube root of minus 16 will be unique everywhere, every time, by
Right.
everyone. So x is unique. The value of x is unique. So that's why what we'll have to say that choice B is the absolute choice for the
Okay.
sufficiency of the scatter to proceed and to get the value of unknown. Points to remember. So it's a gist of the lesson of the day. So useful points. So please read.
Sure. Okay, so equation's unique solution or R, how would you say that? Just
Oh,
R?
yes. Let me explain this
Okay.
one. Equation unique solution. So remember this thing that whenever you are asked to solve the equations, that
Right.
equation may be quadratic, quadric, linear, simultaneous equation, whatsoever the type of the equation is. So whenever you are
Right.
asked to solve that, remember this thing that you must have the unique solution, okay, for the
Okay.
unknown values. If you cannot find the unique solution, you cannot say that you have solved those. You must say
Okay.
the solution does not exist, or there is no unique solution. If you have a unique solution for each and every
Right.
variable or every unknown involved in the equation, so you must have unique solution. That's why
Right.
equations. Inequalities, we have so many solutions because if I am saying that x is less than 3, okay, so
Okay.
less than 3, every number is included less than 3. So inequalities, you must not have a unique solution, but in
Okay.
equation you must have a unique solution. When I am saying that x is x, so x is x everywhere. But inequalities, you
Right.
have the chances that you will get so many equations. If I am saying that all those boys come forward who are under 16 and your class are under 18, so there may
Right.
be 10, there will be 20. But if I'm saying
Yeah.
that come out those boys whose age is 16, so only the unique number, the exact age is 16, those will come.
Right. Okay.
But when I am saying less than 16, so somebody has 15, 14, 10, 13, whatsoever the age, lot of variable with the variable ages are coming. So that's why we cannot say this collection is unique because each and everyone has a different age. But if I am saying that come forward all those who have exactly 16, so only
Right. Yeah.
that will be each and everybody of 16. So that's why the in equation case, when we are saying something that equal to something, that must be unique everywhere. Next
Okay.
is, next fact is, please read
Sure.
this.
For linear equations, number of equations should be as many number as variables.
I think it's a self-explanatory,
Yeah.
and you can explain in your own
Yeah, sure.
words.
Right. So pretty much what it's saying is, depending on how many, like, if there's X, Y, and Z, there should be three like
Okay.
equations that you could use to find it with. Yeah.
Number of equation must be equal to the number of unknowns. Third,
So what?
this third one.
Oh,
The
okay. Oh, you want me? Yeah, okay. The note above is a necessary but not sufficient condition.
The above is a necessary but not sufficient condition. How can you explain this? Above means these two.
Um, I think it's what it's trying to say is that you can solve it with like the equation or like this what you need to get. You could solve it without all three, but it's necessary to like if you want to just solve the entire equation.
Oh, yes. Actually, this is saying the note. It's a very special note. The above is necessary but not sufficient condition. What I mean to say, that necessary is that you can have the number of equation and the number of variable must be the same. But
Right.
this is not sufficient in the sense that let's suppose you are considering you are given the equation, two equations, and you are asked to find the integral values of the unknowns. You can
Right.
solve that. That is the necessary condition that you have the number of equation equal to the number of unknowns. But
Right.
when
Yeah.
you are finding the solution, you are getting the values, not non-integral values. But you are asked to
Right.
find the
Yeah.
integral values. Although you have solved them, but that is not sufficient because the integral values, there are, what I mean to say, their solution does not contains all those integral values. Those may be
Right.
prime or whatsoever the other type of. So that's a not sufficient. Now the next thing is
Odd and even roots.
odd and even roots. Please read this one.
Odd roots. Oh, odd roots. Unique solution. Even roots. No unique solution.
So can you explain this? Any example of this box if you have got?
I'm
You
not
got.
really sure what it's trying to say. Uh,
Uh,
to be honest.
yes, it's absolutely right. So it's a very brave thing. If you don't know, you must say no. And if there is that the must one must have a courage to say no. Exactly. So it's mean odd roots unique solution and even roots no unique solution. The reason is this that if let's suppose if I am saying just like that, let me just to explain this one. If I am saying
Okay.
that the 4 and I am taking the square root mean it's an even root. So you can say -2 and +2.
Right.
But if I am saying that cube root, what I mean to say, the cube root of 27. How can
Okay.
I write this? This is just like that. So you have only 3. Am I right?
Yeah, I understand that.
So this has two values and odd root has only one. Can you get any other value for this 27?
Uh, I,
You
no,
cannot take
no,
minus. You
you
cannot
can't.
take the
Yeah,
negative. Okay.
yeah, you can.
But for this solution, you can take negative as well as positive.
Right.
So odd roots unique solution. So here we can say this is the odd root. What I mean to say, this one is odd. 3 is the
Right.
odd number. Okay. So for the odd root, this is the odd root. Cube. Cube is the odd number. Okay. We have a unique
Okay.
solution. We have a unique solution. This is
Okay.
unique. For even root. So this square root is a
Yeah.
even. No unique solution. No, because we have 2. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
So this is all about that. I'm
Okay.
sure that next time you will say, yes, this
Yeah.
is well known to me. Okay. Should you
Right.
say? Now look at this. If somebody is asking about that, so you say, okay, well, it's a odd roots, unique solution. Even roots, no unique solution. And you can justify, I'm sure.
Right.
So this is all about that. That was a brief lesson. So you can visit our YouTube channel. A lot of lessons are there over for GMAT, ACT, and GRE, and A level and O level. So daily we are uploading so many videos, short videos, and although recap videos of our other classes. and you can also
Right.
send you can also refer to your friends or anybody who is looking for these type of the preparation or any assistance. So we are all the time open for that. So this is all about that.
Right.
So thank you very much for joining today. So it's uh, apologizing for this way that I couldn't take your class as early that has been scheduled because little engagement was
Right.
there. So that's why it's a very brief lesson. So next time, once again, I'm sure that I'm not getting your outlines still. So I don't
That's
know.
because our school hasn't started. It's gonna start tomorrow, and I'll probably have it by then, and I can
Okay,
send it to
so
you.
you must ask your teachers or whatsoever that please what
Yeah.
we are going to study or what is the syllabus of the paper or test, the outlines at least, that these topics are
Right.
included. What are those topics which would be included in your final test or whatsoever the coming test is? That we will get those and I will analyze and I will come out all those questions that are including in this test and for that. So in that way, you will get the what we can say double-edged sword in a sense that you will get the preparation of your school syllabus also, and also all those questions are included in ACT and SAT. Anyhow, thank you very much for today.
Right.
So it's all enough that. So it's a time to say Allah Hafiz. Take care of yourself and the people around you. Allah Hafiz.